Friends, welcome to Galda AI's previous year question discussion series. Today let's discuss 5 questions from Indian polity. Okay, and moving on to the first question. Consider the following statements. Statement number 1. Article 301 pertains to right to property. 2. Right to property is a legal right but not a fundamental right. 3. Article 300A was inserted into the Constitution of India by the Congress government at the center by the 44th Constitutional Amendment. Which of the statement given above is or are correct? So regarding statement number 1, Article 301 pertains to right to property. Actually, this statement is wrong because it is Article 300A that is related to right to property, and 301 is related to the freedom of trade and commerce. Freedom of trade and commerce to Article 301, and Article 300A only related to right to property. So statement 1 is wrong here. Okay. Regarding statement number 2, the right to property is a legal right but not a fundamental right. Exactly. Earlier right to property was a fundamental right under Article 31, and that was deleted by the 44th Constitutional Amendment Act and is now made only a legal right. So now if that right is violated, we cannot directly approach Supreme Court. We can take only normal legal action. So that's the difference between fundamental right and legal right. Okay. So currently the right to property is a legal right only and not a fundamental right. So statement 2 is correct. Okay. Moving on to statement 3. Article 300A, that is right to property, was inserted to the Constitution of India by the Congress government at the center by the 44th Constitution Amendment. Article 300 inserted the Constitution, that was right, by the center by the 44th Amendment Act, that is also right, but here the government is changed. Actually it was inserted by the Janata government and not by the Congress government. So statement 3 is also wrong here. Just because only one statement is right, that is statement number 2 is only right here, our answer becomes option A, that is 2 only. Okay. Second question, the 9th schedule was introduced in the Constitution of India during the Prime Ministership of. See, the 9th schedule was added by First Amendment Act, and this helps to protect the laws from judicial review. To protect the laws from judicial review, the first schedule was inserted to the Constitution by the, 9th schedule was inserted to the Constitution by First Amendment Act, and this happened in 1951. And we know that at the time who was the Prime Minister? It was Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, right? So the answer is option A. Okay, so please note down, schedules are very much important for us from UPSC point of view. You must know all the 12 schedules and its provisions. 8 was originally introduced to the Constitution, and 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th was added through Amendment Acts. See, 9th schedule was added through First Amendment Act. 10th regarding anti-defection law was amended through 52nd Amendment Act, and 11th regarding panchayats were added through 73rd, and 12th regarding municipalities was added through 74th Amendment Act. So these all amendments are very much important for us from UPSC preliminary point of view. And please note down all those provisions under all those 12 schedules also. Again, we can expect question based on schedules. Okay. The instrument of instructions contained in the Government of India Act of 1935 have been incorporated in the Constitution of India in the year 1950 See, in the Government of India Act 1935, there were some kind of things called instrument of instructions. That is, in the certain instructions or guidelines are given to Governor General of India. Similarly, there are a set of guidelines or kind of recommendation in the Indian Constitution also in the form of Directive Principles of State Policy, that is DPSP under Part 4. Here the objective of DPSP is that it gives certain kind of guidelines or recommendation to the state that they should keep in mind then when they are framing laws or some kind of government policies. So some constitutional guidelines are given to state in the form of DPSP. It resembles Instrument of Instructions in the Government of India Act of 1935, but the difference is Instrument of Instructions was to Governor General of India and DPSP is to the state. That they should keep in mind those guidelines when they are framing laws or policies. Okay, so the answer to this question is option B, that is instrument of instructions contained in the Government of India Act of 1935 have been incorporated in the Constitution of India year 1950 as directive principles of state policy. Okay, moving on to next question. To uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity and integrity of India is a provision made in. Answer is option D, fundamental duties. See, I have a request that please go through the provisions of fundamental duties, DPSP, fundamental rights, and also preamble. Because many provisions, in these provisions, based on these provisions, many questions are asked. Be clear with preamble, be clear with all the fundamental rights, be clear with DPSP, be clear with fundamental duties because they can be interchanged and questions can be asked. Okay, so this fundamental duty, that is to uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity, and integrity of India, is a provision made in fundamental duties. See, in the original constitution, there was no provision called fundamental duties. Okay, so it was in the 42nd Amendment Act only fundamental duties was inserted. At that time, 10 duties were there, and later on, in the 86th Amendment Act, one more duty was added, and now we have totally 11 fundamental duties, and these duties are applicable only to citizens and not to foreigners. Okay, so be clear with all those things. Okay, moving on to the last question for today. Match list 1 with list 2 and select the correct answer using the codes given below. See, on the left hand side, some of the articles of Indian Constitution are there regarding fundamental rights, and on the right hand side, concerned provisions are given. You have to match it correctly. Fine. A is deal with Article 16, clause 2. See, we know that Article 16 relates to equality of opportunity regarding public employment. See, please thorough with all those provisions under fundamental rights. Many times questions are asked. Okay, so we know Article 16 deals with equality of opportunities in matters of public employment. So it comes under, yeah, that is 2. It 2 says that no persons can be discriminated against the matters of public appointment on the ground of race, religion or caste. If the matter of public appointment is given, so A should match with 2. Regarding Article 29.2, we know that it is related to cultural and educational right. It says that no citizen shall be denied admission into any education institution maintained by the state for receiving state aid on the grounds of religion, race, caste, language or any of them. So B should match with 4. So when A should match with 2, B should match with 4, we now itself reach the answer, that is option A. Just because of these two statements itself, we could arrive at the answer, that is answer is A. Anyway, let's move on to the other statements for revision purpose. Article 30, again related to minorities. We know that all minorities, whether based on religion or language, shall have the fundamental right to establish and administer educational institutions of their choice. C, match with 3. Regarding Article 31, that is right to property, no person shall be deprived of his property served by the authority of law. So please note that match the following. Match the pair questions are easy to attend and easy to score marks, provided you know at least some of those statements. Okay, so answer to this question is option A. Is Article 16 related to public employment. Article 29 relates to no citizen shall be denied admission to education institutions. Article 30, all minorities can establish religious institutions, education institutions of their choice. 31 related to right to property. Fine, and that's all for the day. Thank you.